probably not so usual for many of our MPLS members, so let's just sing it one more time. I hereby accept upon myself the commandment of the Creator. You shall love your neighbour as yourself. Reini mekabel elai et mitzvat haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha l'reacha kamocha.
Shabbat Shalom and a very warm welcome to Northwood and Pinner Liberal Synagogue. A very warm welcome to all of our regulars. It's wonderful to know that so many of you are joining us from wherever you are, safe in a place of shelter. But also a very warm welcome to all of those of you who are joining us, who are not normally part of our community, but who have either found us by chance or been referred to us because maybe your synagogue isn't able to offer live streaming, or just because you wanted to be a bit of a explorer on a journey through the different synagogues. So whether you're going to stay with us for the full service or just for a few moments, you are most welcome, and we are very blessed to be celebrating our Shabbat with you. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. In these days, it's so important to focus on the little acts of generosity and kindness that so many are doing for each other. And as you think back to the past week, maybe you can think of that moment where you have truly felt loved by your neighbors. That might have been when you heard everyone clap on Thursday night for all the wonderful workers of the NHS, or when somebody brought some shopping, or when you brought some shopping for someone else. And I invite you to take those moments into Shabbat with you, into the service, and to celebrate for yourself that love that we share for each other. And together we will don our talitot. So if you do have one at home, please do feel free to put it on wherever you are.
And if you don't, it doesn't matter. But just feel an embrace around your shoulders at this moment in time as we bring each one of us into our sacred community.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu halecha Yaakov, Mishnotecha Yisrael, Mishnotecha Yisrael, V'ani berov chastecha ahavo ve'techa, ehtachave, El hechal kodshecha be'yiratecha, El hechal kodshecha be'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'od beitecha, u'mekol mishkan kevodecha. V'ani eshtachave ve'echra evrecha lifnei Adonai osi. V'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim. Berov chastecha, aneni be'emet yishecha.
And if you chose to rise with us for Matovud, and you may be seated. Eternal God, a mystery surrounds my life. What came before it and what lies beyond it are shrouded in darkness. But in the darkness is your presence, and in the mystery your love. No mind can grasp the splendor of your being. No tongue express the majesty of your works. Yet there are times when we sense a reality that is beyond our mortal sight. May this Sabbath be such a time for us. Help us to hear your voice, to find your image in our souls, and to be at peace.
Neshama שנתת בי, שנתת בי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי, שנתת בי, טהוראי, טהוראי, טהוראי. נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי, אלוהי, נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי, טהוראי, טהוראי.
Let us continue together. My God, the soul that you have given me is pure. You created it, formed it, and breathed it into me. You sustain it within me. So long as there is a soul within me, I will give thanks to you, Eternal One, my God and God of my ancestors, sovereign of all worlds, guide of every human soul. We praise you, O God, in whose hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh.
And together.
Baruch Shema v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hamehulal b'fi amo, משובח ומפואר בלשון חסידיו ועבדיו, בשבחות ובזמירות, נגדל לך ונמליכך, מלכנו יחיד חי העולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
We found last night ourselves a little bit bereft. We've been doing all right, Rabbi Leah and I together, but last night we came a cropper. And we realised the true value of our choir, whether it be individuals coming here for a service and supporting our singing, or whether it be all of you together as you ask so many Shabbatot to support the beauty of our services. And so this morning, please do support us. Please do sing wherever you are. Sing your hearts out, sing the lines that you would normally sing in harmony with us, and hopefully we will do you justice. I think you are the stars that hopefully this morning will sing.
To you the stars of morning sing, from you their radiance bright did spring, and steadfast in their vigil stay in night. Your angels flooded with fervor ring your praise. They teach the holy ones to bring into your house the breath of early light.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah, el b'kodsho, hallelujah, b'kiruzo, hallelujah, b'gavurotav, hallelujah, kerov gudlo, hallelujah, hallelujah, take a shofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'nevel v'chino. Hallelujah, b'tov u'machon. Hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, צלצלי שמה, הללוהו, הללוהו, בצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלל, תהלליה, hallelujah.
We continue together. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בשירי זמרה. Be seated. Reading by one of our colleagues, Rabbi Mark Solomon. You form light and create darkness. As time is a tapestry of day and night, our lives are a weaving of light and dark. Like a slow dawn, we discover who we are. Like twilight, we linger in doubt and anxiety. We endure nights of rejection by others and by ourselves, and bright days of acceptance and joy in who we are. You make peace and create everything. We look around and see a world of endless change and diversity. As we rejoice in the variety of creation, we come to accept our own uniqueness. We appreciate all human diversity and live at peace with ourselves and with all creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzei HaMeorot.
And together, Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola V'Torah Chamalta Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ba'avor Avotenu Shabatuchu V'cha, V'telamdem Chukei Chaim, Ken Techonenu V'telamdenu, V'ten Belibenu Lahavin Ulahaskil, לשמוע, ללמוד ולמד, לשמוע ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תורתך באהבה. והננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. Kivanu v'rachata liachedecha ba'achava. Baruch
ברוך
atah
אתה
Adonai,
אדוני,
הבוחר
הבוחר
בעמו
בעמו
ישראל,
ישראל,
באהבה.
באהבה.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam, Leolam, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, ייתן קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Who is like you, God of mystery and majesty, distant and present, thundering and quiet, the beginning and the end, the atom and the cosmos, the darkness and the light, the one and the all, pillar and foundation, artist of sea and sky, author of the miraculous and the mundane, source of life, blessing and sustaining creation. Who is like you, glorious in holiness, to whom we praise, to whom we give thanks, the God who redeemed us from Egypt, the God who parted the sea, the God to whom Miriam and Moses led us in song.
Mi chamocha balim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot אוסף אלה.
שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו,
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, גואלנו אדוני, צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, קהל ישראל, קהל ישראל, ישראל. אדוני שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. את גיבורה לעולם שדי, מחיה מתים את רבה להושיע. משיבה הרוח ומורידה הגשם, מזריחה השמש ומורידה הטל. מחכלת חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. צומחת נופלים ורופאה חולים, ומתירה אסורים, ומקיימת אמונתה לשני אהבה. מי כמוך בעלת גבורות, ומידו מעלה, גבורה ממיתה, ומחיה מצמיחה ישועה. ונאמנת את להחיות מתים, ברוכה את שדי, מחיה המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, hallelujah. From generation to generation we will make known your greatness. To the end of time we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips.
We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God.
You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live on bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. And in this peculiar times, how true that is. When we actually do stop and make this day different from all others. There is such a tendency perhaps during times such as these that every day just merges into the other. Truly, this is an opportunity for Shabbat to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. עם קדשי שביעי, עם קדשי שביעי, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך. והשיבי רצית בו וקידשתו, והשיבי רצית בו וקידשתו. חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה v'reshit.
And together, O God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts.
And may all Israel who hallow your name
be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amacha Yisrael, u'tefilatam b'ahavat kabel, u'tchi ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha, bi'yirah na'avod. Modim anachnu lach, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom, Tova u'bracha. Sim shalom, Tova u'bracha. Sim shalom, Tova u'bracha. חן וחסד ורחמים, חן וחסד ורחמים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. Sim shalom, tova u'bracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova u'bracha. Sim shalom, tova u'bracha. Tova u'bracha. Tova u'bracha.
ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום. Adonai Tzuri V'Goali Oseh Shalom Shalom Bimromav Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Bnei Adam Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amen. Oseh Shalom Shalom Bimromav Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amen. We would normally now ask you to turn your prayer books to the correct page and get ready for the Torah service and invite all those who have mitzvot up to our upper bimah, which we are on right now. Sadly, we can't physically welcome you onto our upper bimah, but we can see that you're here, and it's so wonderful to see the messages. We can see the messages that you're posting on YouTube or on our public Facebook page as well, and it's wonderful to see members of Lincolnshire Jewish community joining us for this service, members of the Liberal Jewish Synagogue, members of the Liberal Synagogue Elstree joining us, and of course so many of our own members. And yes, we can hear you sing. Somebody says, I hope you can hear us sing. We can't really, but we kind of can. So it is wonderful, and we hope that you will join in with our Torah service. Consider all of you receiving an aliyah to the Torah today. You will be able to see into the Torah, so you can really feel as if you are reading the Torah. So we turn to our reading of the Torah, Kriyat HaTorah.
There is none like you, Eternal One, among the gods people worship, and there are no deeds like yours. Your sovereignty is everlasting. Your reign endures from age to ever. Please rise.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kamasecha. Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, u'neromamo shemo yachdav.
Lecha Adonai, hakavura, v'hakavura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim, ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה במתנשא לכל ראש. Our weekly Torah portion delves further into the book of Leviticus, the priestly writings. And, well, there's lots of writings about lots of offerings, but I've chosen to read the piece today right at the beginning, Leviticus chapter 6, verses 1 to 6, about what happens with the operations around the burnt offering. Let us all read together the Torah blessing, and then we'll get into it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe le'emor. And the Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, Tzav et Acharon ve'et banav le'emor. Instruct or command Aaron and his sons, the priests, saying, Zot Torah ha'olah. This is the ritual of the burnt offering. Hi ha'olah al mokdah al hamizbeach, kol halayla ad boker. The burnt offering shall remain on the altar all of the night until the morning. Ve'esh hamizbeach tukad bo. And the fire on the altar shall not go out. V'lavash hakohen midor vad, u'michnasei vad, yilbash al basaro. And the priest shall dress himself in linen garments, making sure that even his breeches, the clothing which is, well, his underpants basically, and his vest if he wore one in those days, those things closest to his skin were made of linen too. V'heirim et hadeshen asher tuchal ha'esh et ha'olah al hamizbeach. And he shall take up the ashes which were consumed of the offering, which were consumed by the fire on the altar, sam'o etzel hamizbeach, and place them next to the altar. Ufashat et bagadav. And then he shall get out of these linen garments, v'lavash bagadim acherim, and get dressed in other clothing, v'hotzi et hadeshen al michutz lemachaneh, and to take the ashes outside of the camp, el makom tahor, to a pure place. V'ha'esh al hamizbeach tukad bo. And the fire on the altar shall not go out. Lo tichbe, it shall not be extinguished. Uvieh aleha hakohen, and atzim baboker, and the priest shall place onto the altar wood every morning. Va'arach aleha ha'ol'ah, and place upon it and arrange the burnt offering. V'hiktir aleha chelvei hashlamim, and turn to smoke the fat of the well-being offering. Eish tamid tukad al hamizbeach, lo tigfbeh. The fire on the altar shall eternally be lit. It shall never go out. As I'm reading this Torah portion, well, I could make many allusions. But first I would like to pay tribute to all of those working in the NHS and all other industries connected with the life and death of the people of this country and around the world at this time. We think of our members who are serving within hospitals at this time, the officers who have to enforce law at this time, these changing times, of all those who feel a little bit of fear at this moment in time for our surroundings. I wonder what kind of practices, new rituals, new procedures there now are in hospitals. There are to deal with life and death, to ensure that we do all of our best to try to stamp out this virus. As we think of the rituals, the procedures that the priests went through in the temple to ensure that the temple, the camp, the people remain pure to God, may we all play our part within this, making sure that our rituals and procedures keep us all as fit and healthy as we can, and hopefully saving as many lives as possible. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Oh, wrong one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And please rise.
Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. This Shabbat is Shabbat Hagadol, the Great Sabbath, the Shabbat before Pesach, the last Shabbat before Pesach. And to mark this Shabbat, there is a special haftarah from the prophet Malachi. The prophet Malachi, literally his name just means my messenger. He was an anonymous prophet. We don't quite know what his real name was. Probably lived in Jerusalem about the middle of the 5th century before the Common Era, when Judea was a Persian province. It's read on the Shabbat before Pesach because it anticipates the festival of freedom from Egyptian bondage, for it describes the ultimate liberation of Israel from all oppression. It also features the return of Elijah, who is by long tradition connected with the Seder observance. Although maybe this year we can't quite welcome Elijah into our homes. My husband Josh said maybe we shouldn't open the door for Elijah. He's probably a super spreader. But metaphorically, we shall still be able to welcome Elijah into our homes at the Seder. And it concludes with the promise of intergenerational unity, which bespeaks the hope for Pesach, the great family festival of the Jewish people. We'll be reading not the full section that is traditionally read, but chapter 3, Malachi chapter 3, starting from verse 16. But before we do, please join me in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, ורצה ודבריהם הנאמרים באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בתורה, ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת בצדק. Then those who revered the Eternal talked to each other. The Eternal listened and took note of it, and a scroll of remembrance was written before God concerning those who revered and valued God's name. On the day that I am preparing, says the God of heaven's hosts, they shall be to me my most precious possession. I will be tender to them as parents are tender toward their children who serve them. You shall turn back and see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves God and one who does not serve. For behold, the day is coming, burning like an oven. Those who were so proud, who did so much evil, shall be stubble. The day that comes will burn them up, leaving them neither root nor branch, says the God of heaven's hosts. But for you who revere my name, a sun of righteousness shall rise with healing on its wings. You shall break out and gambol like calves, like stall-fed calves. You shall trample the wicked, for they shall be ashes under your feet. On the day that I am making, says the God of heaven's hosts. Remember the Torah of Moses my servant, the statutes and ordinances I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal, to turn the hearts of parents to their children, and the hearts of children to their parents, lest I come and smite the land with destruction. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal.
Baruch
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך, ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
And we read together, Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country, and for all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility, and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity. Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us, and heal those in anxiety or pain. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and to do your will.
Eternal God, our Rock and Redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream, and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another, and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision, that out of Zion shall go forth Torah, and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado.
Odo al eretz b'shamayim, v'yarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael, am karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Behold, my Torah I give to you. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nahashuva, Chadesh yameinu kekedem, Chadesh yameinu kekedem. The Zohar, the key text of Jewish mysticism, teaches that the Hebrew name for Egypt, Mitzrayim, is derived from the word Mitzarim, meaning narrow straits. From this, the Zohar concludes that when God took us out of Mitzrayim, we were extricated from a place of constricted opportunities, tight control, and narrow-mindedness, where movement was severely limited. The Jewish writer and artist Leslie Koppelman Ross reflects on the teaching of the Zohar. She observes, each of us lives in his or her own Mitzrayim, the external or physical narrow straits of financial or health constraints, or perhaps personal tragedy. Universally, the psychological burdens to which we subject ourselves. considering the current restrictions that the invisible danger of the coronavirus places upon us. The idea that Egypt, that place of narrow straits, is everywhere, certainly takes on a new meaning. And with it we reflect anew on the idea of Pesach as a celebration of our liberation from Egypt. How are we to celebrate our freedom when we are not free to celebrate as we normally would? How can we capture the optimism of Pesach when for all of us the future is filled with uncertainty? When we feel stuck in our very own Mitzrayim, how can we get a sense of God's redemptive powers? None of these are easy questions, but Pesach has always been about asking difficult questions. Questions play a central role in the Haggadah, which we read during the Pesach Seder. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. Why is this night different from all other nights? The 4 questions traditionally sung by the youngest child of the family accompany us throughout the whole Seder. Have you ever noticed that the Haggadah doesn't actually provide the answers for each of the questions? The questions are more important than the answers. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. Many of our regular Pesach customs will have to be adapted, reinvented, and reimagined this year, as we are not able to gather in the same physical space as family members, friends, and fellow congregants with whom we would normally celebrate the Pesach Seder. But whether you are celebrating a Seder by yourself, with just your household, or with a wider community by joining one of our Zoom Seders, the rituals that are part of the Seder can help guide us in asking new questions about the meaning of the Exodus from Egypt for our days. As you look at the familiar symbols on your Seder plate, ask yourself which is taking on a new meaning for you this year. As you pour the first glass of wine, take a moment to think whether you feel ready to recline to the left, the traditional way to celebrate the luxury of freedom. And if you choose to recline, what freedom are you celebrating? When you taste the sweet wine, think back to a moment of joy. As the service proceeds to karpas, the dipping of greens into salt water, the salty water symbolizes the tears shed during slavery. My colleague Rabbi Evan Schultz asks, how can I not connect my own tears with those shed by my ancestors? The salt water, the tears, the sadness, the enslavement, the sense of loss. It has never felt more real than it does right now. And he continues, I pause and think for a moment about the ritual of the salt water. We each take in our hand a tiny sprig of green, a thin, flimsy, fragile, barely edible sprig of parsley. Embedded within those tiny stems and leaves are hope, rebirth, springtime, light. That's all we need to carry us through right now. A fragile, delicate, beautiful sense of hope, touched by God herself. We hold it between our fingertips, and as it dances through the bitter waters, it remains intact. We offer a blessing. We taste the mixture of light and bitterness upon our tongues. We keep telling the story. We move forward through the wilderness, carried by one another, by the profound beauty of hope, the love that carries us amidst the sadness. The salt water is an important reminder that we should acknowledge our pain, that even during an evening of celebration, it is okay to admit that life is not always easy, that we live in difficult and uncertain times, and it is okay to shed a tear. But the rabbis who put together the Seder were great psychologists indeed, and so in pairing the salt water with the spring greens, hope emerges, even while damp with tears. And we are called upon to reflect on what gives us hope as we recall the story of the Jewish people's journey from slavery to freedom. Just before we reached the meal, we reached the Dayenu. It should have been enough. But then there was more. Particularly in times of stress, this moment in the Seder, full of singing and simple repetition, can be a stark reminder of the importance and the challenge of practicing gratitude. In this unique year of COVID-19, which is impacting our Pesach celebrations, what moments of gratitudes can you share, even on the days when you feel like you've had enough? What have you learned about yourself and your awareness to find gratitude even in difficult times? Nobody can deny that this year's Pesach Seder will be different to other Pesach Seders that we have celebrated before. Yet even as we are stuck alongside our fellow Jews around the world in our modern-day Mitzrayim, in our very own narrow straits, we can find hope and comfort in the different Pesach symbols and rituals. As the new will mingle with the familiar, we are called upon to find meaning in the knowledge that the Exodus was not simply a freedom from, but a freedom to. We acknowledge the many limitations to our current lives, yet we can also be grateful to the many freedoms that we can still enjoy. The freedom to enjoy the sight of the sun and the sound of the birds. The freedom to reach out and to connect through the old-fashioned telephone and our newly acquired technological skills. The freedom to be grateful for being part of a wonderful community which truly transcends physical space. On this Shabbat Hagadol, as we look towards Pesach, let us connect our own tears with those shed by our ancestors and focus on the potential of the festival rather than the restrictions of our reality. So that as we recall our people's redemption from Egypt, we will be filled with hope for a better future. B'mehera v'yameinu, speedily in our days. Amen.
Amen. And as we move to our concluding prayers, if you would like to share with each other any yahrzeits that you are commemorating at this moment in time, indeed in these times also any recent deaths within those of your family and friends, please do type them on the screen as well so that you can share them with each other. But for now we read together, Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen. Baruch Adonai Elohim, Elohei Yisrael, Oseh niflaot levado, uvaruch Shem kavodo leolam, v'yimalech kavodo et kol haaretz. Amen ve'amen. The eternal God shall rule over all the earth. On that day the eternal God shall be one and known to be one. May your love, O God, rest upon us as we rest our hope in you. All the nations that you have made shall come and bow down before you and honor your name. Baruch Adonai Bayom, Baruch Adonai Balayla, Baruch Adonai B'shochtenu, Baruch Adonai B'kumenu. Avinu Shebashamayim, our God in heaven, let your unity be acknowledged and your sovereignty established forever. Reign over us now and always. Adonai Melech Adonai Malach Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed. Life is finite, like a candle it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. Then it fades. Its substance is consumed and it is no more. Yet we do not despair, for we know that we are more than a flickering flame. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and light, of death and life. On this Shabbat we record the yahrzeits in our community of Albert Benny Blind, the son of Ada, brother of Renee Simmons, Bernard and Morris. Beatrice Siegel, the mother of Barbara Fraser. Jeffrey Fisher, the husband of Barbara and father of Massey and Nick. And Lily Berg, the mother of Judith Rose. And we're saddened to announce this week the deaths of Dennis Selman, the husband of Phyllis, and also the death of Lawrence, their son. Of Joy Miller, the wife of Nat and mother of Amanda, and our member Tony Miller, mother-in-law of Shelley and grandmother of Aaron and April. Of Leslie Sherman, the father of Murray. Of Mary Phillips, supported by our care team and rabbis for many years. And just this morning of Harold Berman, the husband of Myrna, father of Paul and Lorraine. As we name our loved ones, we pray that the divine presence will comfort us and all those who mourn, as we say together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yom echon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithada v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kodesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol b'nei Adam. V'imru amen. May great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us, to all Israel, to all peoples, and to all those who mourn. Let us say,
Amen. Just as we're getting ready for our closing song, Adon Lam, please get ready to join in. We have moved our whole community online, so please do make sure that you know what's going on. We have 3 different Seder options. We have a more families with small children Seder at 5 p.m. for the first night Seder, so that's on Wednesday night at 5 p.m., followed by at 6 p.m. an abridged family Seder for the whole family. You can then go on to have your own meal in your own time. On the second Seder, we have our communal Seder, which starts at 6 p.m. For all of those, you can join us on Zoom. We will be streaming the Seder as well, but if you do want to be part of the interactive experience, then you can join on Zoom, but you need to be in touch with us. If you're not a member of the community, please be in touch with us so we can let you through the door with the correct Zoom details. So if you do want to join us for that, we welcome you very much. We have many learning opportunities coming up, but just check out all our online offerings. We're trying to keep our Facebook page updated so that you can join in with everything that is online. And so we conclude with Adon Olam.
We certainly do, and we've always got bright lights here because we've got these incredible spotlights on us, trying to keep us warm in the synagogue building. But looking out the windows now, the sun is obviously out and the sky is blue, and I hope that we'll all be able to go out just a little bit into our gardens or any safe space to be able to enjoy a little bit of this Shabbat. We hope that you have literally felt within the talit of this community this morning, and hope that you will be reassured by that for the rest of this Shabbat and into the week ahead. Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem kol לשמוניקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה.
And as we reflect this Pesach on what Egypt, what Mitzrayim, what that narrow straits means for us in our day, we ask for God's blessing for us to grant us strength and bless us with peace. The peace of good health, the peace of feeling the presence of others even if they are not nearby. And so we ask God, Adonai Oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Eternal God, grant strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to you all.
Shabbat shalom, and do come and join us in our Zoom Kiddush room. I hope by now people know how to do that, and we look forward to seeing you in a few moments in our virtual Azoria Hall. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.